Welcome to the final episode of What's True Season 1. Today we dive into a notorious document that fueled centuries of hatred, the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion. Let's set the stage. The year was 1905, a time of burgeoning industry and complex geopolitics. It was then that a document surfaced in Russia, claiming to unveil a sinister plot. This text, known as the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion, was a fabricated manifesto, supposedly crafted by Jewish leaders. Its content was alarmingly specific, detailing a grand scheme in which a select group of Jews would manipulate Christian society to achieve global domination. The repercussions of this document were immediate and far-reaching. It became a cornerstone for anti-Semitic propaganda, fueling distrust and hatred across continents. This document, though entirely debunked, has had a lasting and dark legacy. How did such a profound lie originate? In the early 20th century, Russia was a hotbed of political turmoil and social unrest. The nation was grappling with rapid modernization while trying to maintain its deeply entrenched traditional values. Amidst this backdrop, the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion emerged as a sinister narrative crafted to exploit and amplify societal anxieties. The origins of the Protocols are steeped in the darker corners of political strategy. It was during this time that elements within the Russian political sphere, feeling threatened by the waves of change and the challenges to their power, found an opportune scapegoat in the Jewish communities. Antisemitism was not a new sentiment, but the Protocols provided a new and more structured outline for it. The document was first published in 1905 as a series in the newspaper Znamya, meaning the banner. This publication claimed to expose a secret Jewish plot to achieve global domination, targeting Christian morality, financial systems, and health. It detailed meetings of Jewish leaders discussing their plans to manipulate the non-Jewish world, a narrative blatantly fabricated to instill fear and control. The Protocols were purportedly minutes of meetings held by Jewish leaders. In reality, these texts were a forgery, largely plagiarized from earlier political texts and even a satirical play by Maurice Joly titled The Dialogue in Hell Between Machiavelli and Montesquieu. The sinister genius of the Protocols lay not in their originality but in their ability to weave existing prejudices with contemporary political fears. As the Protocols transitioned from serialized newspaper articles to a full-fledged book, their impact grew. Bound volumes of this falsehood began to circulate more widely, finding audiences beyond Russia's borders, ready to consume and believe the anti-Semitic lies. This broader dissemination was aided by the chaotic socio-political climates in various parts of the world, where blame was often placed on marginalized communities. From a tool in political games within Russia, the Protocols began their malignant spread across the globe. Across the ocean, an American magnate would give the Protocols a new and alarming life. Henry Ford, a titan of industry and founder of Ford Motor Company, played a pivotal role in amplifying the reach and impact of the Protocols of the Elders of Zion in the United States. Known for his innovations in automobile manufacturing and the assembly line, Ford also harbored deep-seated anti-Semitic beliefs, which led him to become an enthusiastic proponent of this notorious forgery. In the early 1920s, Ford's newspaper, the Dearborn Independent, began publishing a series of articles that endorsed the anti-Semitic themes of the Protocols. But Ford didn't stop at merely promoting the forged documents through his publications. In a more drastic move, he financed the printing of 500,000 copies of the Protocols, distributing them across the United States. This mass dissemination played a significant role in embedding anti-Semitic sentiments into the fabric of American society at the time. Ford's actions were not without consequence. His endorsement and the widespread distribution of the Protocols lent an air of unwarranted legitimacy to the document. It stoked the fires of anti-Semitism in the West, contributing to a climate of mistrust and prejudice against Jewish communities, a sentiment that found fertile ground in an already tumultuous period of American history. Ford's endorsement gave the Protocols a veneer of legitimacy that would prove difficult to erase. This act of spreading a dangerous lie showcased how influential figures could manipulate public opinion and ignite widespread social issues based on falsehoods and fear. The darkest chapter in the history of the protocols begins now. As the world grappled with the aftermath of World War I, a particularly sinister use of the protocols of the learned elders of Zion was unfolding in Germany. The Nazis, led by Adolf Hitler, adopted this forged document as a cornerstone of their anti-Semitic propaganda, using it to fuel their destructive racial ideology. Hitler explicitly referenced the protocols in his notorious manifesto, Mein Kampf, published in 1925. In it, he presented the protocols as evidence of a global Jewish conspiracy, a fabrication he used to justify the exclusion, persecution, and eventual extermination of Jews. This reference by Hitler underscored the immense power of propaganda, which can transform lies into perceived truths, shaping public opinion and policy. The Nazis' propaganda machine was vast and efficient, spearheaded by figures like Joseph Goebbels, the Reich Minister of Propaganda. Under his watch, the protocols were widely disseminated, taught in schools as factual, and used to indoctrinate the German public with hate. This manipulation of media and education was a key element in preparing the society to accept and even participate in the atrocities of the Holocaust. The reach and impact of the protocols were not limited to political rhetoric, but permeated everyday life in Nazi Germany. They were cited in school textbooks, academic arguments, and political speeches, continually reinforcing the baseless narrative of a Jewish threat. This relentless propaganda campaign created an atmosphere of fear and hatred that made it easier for the Nazi regime to implement its genocidal policies under the guise of protecting Aryan purity. By war's end, 6 million Jews had been murdered, a stark testament to the lethal consequences of unchecked hatred and propaganda. The protocols of the learned elders of Zion, though thoroughly discredited by then, had played a significant role in this dark history. The misuse of this forged document reached its most horrific at the hands of the Nazis. How do we separate fact from such a dangerous fabrication? Today, we delve into the critical work of debunking the notorious document known as the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion. The journey to expose the falsehoods of the protocols began earnestly in the early 20th century. Investigative journalists and scholars embarked on a quest to trace the origins and verify the contents of this text. What they uncovered was not only eye-opening, but also a stark warning about the power of misinformation. One of the most pivotal revelations came from an analysis that showed significant portions of the protocols were directly plagiarized from earlier works. Notably, much of the text was lifted from a French political satire that had nothing to do with Jewish people. This satire, intended to mock the ambitions of Napoleon III, was twisted into a supposed secret Jewish manifesto for world domination. Further scrutiny came from historians who dissected the content and style of the protocols. They noted anachronisms and inconsistencies within the text that could not possibly align with the alleged time of writing. These historical inaccuracies were clear indicators that the protocols were not what they claimed to be. The nail in the coffin, however, was delivered by the courts. In a series of legal battles, notably in Switzerland during the 1930s, the protocols were legally declared a forgery. Expert testimony and forensic examinations during these trials provided irrefutable evidence of the document's fraudulent nature. Efforts to educate the public about the true origins and intentions of the protocols have been ongoing. Universities, historians, and Jewish organizations have worked tirelessly to provide factual information and counter the harmful narratives that the protocols propagated. Through seminars, books, and articles, they strive to illuminate the dangers of such unchecked hate and lies. Despite being debunked, the fight against the lies spread by the protocols continues. This historical hoax serves as a sobering reminder of the destructive power of hate-fueled propaganda and the enduring need for vigilance in the defense of truth. Why does this debunked document still matter today? Despite being thoroughly discredited, the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion continues to find an audience around the globe. This persistence highlights an unsettling reality about the durability of misinformation and the dark corners of human susceptibility. The protocols still circulate widely, particularly in parts of the Middle East, Eastern Europe, and even through various channels on the internet. Various hate groups and conspiracy theorists cling to this document as a tool to propagate anti-Semitic beliefs, leveraging it to fuel unfounded fears and prejudices. It's not just the circulation that's concerning, but the context in which it thrives. In societies where historical education is undermined or critical thinking is not emphasized, such documents flourish. This underscores the importance of robust educational frameworks that not only teach historical facts, but also encourage scrutiny and the questioning of sources. Moreover, the continued relevance of the protocols serves as a stark reminder of the need for vigilance. In an age where information and misinformation can spread faster than ever, the ability to critically evaluate sources and intentions is indispensable. It's a skill set that needs constant cultivation, both in educational institutions and in everyday life. Understanding the origins and impacts of such hoaxes is crucial in our ongoing fight against hatred and misinformation. By learning from the past and applying these lessons to the present, society can guard against the repetition of such dangerous falsehoods.